we are like the talent and the engineering department and the production department. You're like, oops, forgot to turn my light on.
Which means everything is our fault when something goes bad. Right?
I'm just starting to really get an appreciation for, and not that I'm just starting to get an appreciation, but I have that huge appreciation for, our crew guys and stuff when we go even do like acoustic things for radio stations or something. Anytime they're set up, it's so nice to have people do it for us. I miss that.
You forget sometimes how amazing they are and how they do such a great job. And
I found myself the other day, like I grabbed my guitar off the wall, I strummed it and it was out of tune, so I just held it out like this to the side for like 15 minutes. I was like, "Where's Bruce?" Oh, I'm at home. Never mind.
Get your kid. You do a fun thing where it's like your kid is your tech, and you put your hand out, and your kid comes and grabs it.
That'd be great. Although I already have pieces of broken nut and stuff like that all over my house from my kids helping. So let's just leave that alone. Let's leave that alone for now.
We were talking about cankers before we put that word.
Cankers, I think, is like the most painful place to just have a cut, and then it reminds, for me personally, if I have a canker sore, it just reminds me of like how much sweet stuff I eat, because every time I eat something sweet, it hurts. And I'm like, right. That's right. I got a canker right now. I can't eat this. Can't eat gummy bears.
There's another word for it. I hate the word canker is like ointment or trousers. It's just a weird word. Canker.
Well, it's like the first person who had one was like, what is this? And he's like, what? Well, explain it to me. What does it feel like? It really hurts. It like canks on me, man. It's like it's canking in there. I don't know. Like, the word to me feels like a perfect description of the pain.
Kinks. That's not a word you would use.
Yeah,
man, I'm really canking right now. I'm really canked. I got one of those, electric toothbrushes or whatever.
Yep.
But before especially out on the road, like I just had a regular toothbrush. Well, I would like brush your teeth really fast, and all of a sudden you brush your teeth and smash. You're like, oh, and you jam it. Now there's going to be a canker there. And of course, the next day you get like a canker, and it just hurts. And it's just like up in here somewhere or down here.
Well, what's the race? Why are you brushing your teeth at warp speed? Like, wait, what's with the really fast brushing?
I'm going to go, man. I'm going to rush.
You anger brush? Gonna get you, plaque.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Stupid.
I love it.
Love it. Well, I mean, yeah. Who knows? It's great. It's a great conversation.
Anger brush. They tell you to be very gentle when you brush. You don't just got to brush.
I get it. Well, the one I have now is like you push too hard, it goes red. So it's got a light on it. It's like blue.
Oh,
and then you push too hard, it's like, it goes red. And you're like, stop. And I'm like, no, that's just getting good.
On the road, you're trying to replicate your electric one by going so fast you're vibrating. You're like,
yeah,
that's what you're trying to do.
It's good because you set it up so every 30 seconds it'll go, and then you switch. So you're supposed to do 30 seconds for each quarter of your mouth.
Right. So it's 2 minutes,
and then when it's done, it does like a. You're like,
it's okay. It's not
I'll keep going.
It's not 2 minutes per week of brushing. Are you sure?
No, it's 2 minutes per year of flossing.
I've actually started flossing again. This is probably not something we really need to get into, but
this is why people pay the big bucks. It's why people pay $1,000 a year listening to this shit.
Is that what it costs? All right.
Yeah, we say every penny. I was thinking this morning about supergroups. Me and you always argue about supergroups. And I was actually thinking a lot about supergroups because me and you agree upon the supergroup thing, where we would say, like, in order for it to be a supergroup, you got to every member has to be like from another band that was massive or something.
I think you need to be able to carry a group on your own. Basically, your name has to be able to carry a group on your own. Slash can be a member of a supergroup because he's Slash. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like the Traveling Wilburys are one that we both agree it's like a supergroup. It's like Tom Petty, George Harrison. You got a Beatle.
Roy Orbison from
Roy Orbison,
Roy
yeah.
Orbison.
Of course, Bob
Jeff
Dylan.
Lynne.
Yeah, Jeff Lynne is the one that's like
They push him in the back. They're like,
he's the less known one, but he's so much to his credit. Like he really does deserve to be there, and I think probably is a big part of the reason that group existed.
Well, he probably writes all their songs.
To me, that's a super group.
That's a super group. Highwaymen is a big one.
Mm-hmm. If you're a country music fan, which I am, I mean, I grew up on the Highwaymen. I love that song too.
The Highwayman?
Yeah. I was a starfighter. Love it.
Yeah. Well, it goes through different, like one of them's like a pirate ship or something.
Yeah. I love it. That's good. Yeah, that was Chris Christopherson, Willie, Waylon, and Johnny Cash. I mean, that's a super group right there.
And then they had Rick on drums and Jeff on bass.
Right.
So who are they? Who cares? Yeah. But I mean, that's the other side of the conversation was like, I didn't want to, because then you get like a lot of people. I saw it was like Todd Hancock or something posted something. Who's your favorite super group? And I said Traveling Wilburys. And I think someone was like, I think he was saying Audioslave. And I'm like, well, but it is really, it's just someone's got to play drums. I mean, unless you got Phil Collins on drums.
They're a super group in the essence that they're two groups that came together.
Right.
But I mean, in the way that it's like, Rage Against the Machine is just a massive band. But at the same time, like could the bass player or the drummer carry a band on their own? Maybe. I don't know. But
Tom Morello definitely.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good question, right?
It's a tough one because I mean, I love Audioslave. I absolutely love Audioslave and think but I don't consider them like a super group. I think of them as another band. I think.
It's a good one is Van Halen. Van Halen got Sammy Hagar. Well, Sammy Hagar was an artist on his own. Sammy Hagar was like a big artist on his own. Then he joined Van Halen. That's a super group, I guess, in that sense. But they never, no one says it's Van Halen's a super group. They just got a new singer.
Right.
Just happens to be a really famous one. Yeah, so I don't know. It's let us know what you think. I guess it goes both ways.
There's a few others.
Like Velvet Revolver, it's a good one. It's
almost like when bands mesh, it's like it's easy to call them super groups. But I like that, like every single one of the members can come up and sing in the mic, and it's almost like a super group is made out of frontmen, or in a way Slash can be a frontman. Slash's act is called Slash, even though Miles Kennedy's up there singing, it's still Slash.
Yeah, and Miles Kennedy's that's kind of the same thing. You could argue that that's a super group because Miles Kennedy's from Alter Bridge and
Brent Fitz formerly from our band. I mean, that's serious cred right there.
He Fitz from us, and Alice Cooper and Vince Neil band.
It's actually Todd Kearns. Real amazing. Yeah, Todd Kearns. I saw Todd Kearns at the Ozone nightclub.
Was he playing?
Well, he was opening. They were opening for Big Wreck or something like Ian Thornley. It might have been just Ian Thornley. I'm not sure, but man, I was blown away by Todd Kearns. He stole the show for me that night. He's a talented guy too.
He's so talented. He annoys me how good he is. Him and Brent Fitz, like those guys are like they dress the same and they're all like the nicest guys.
Effortless,
super talented. Yeah, Todd Kearns can sing anything too. He's one of those guys. Just like he's
super humble. They're super humble.
You're like, man, jealous. Todd Kearns. Yeah, there's some Vegas dudes right there. But I remember Brent telling me a story about that the Slash gig, and I guess he called up. They're looking for a bass player, and Brent called up Todd, said, "Hey, I got you a gig. Let's go. You're playing bass for Slash." And I guess Todd was playing in a cover band in Vegas, and it was a great gig. I guess a cover band in Vegas probably makes good money and stuff. And he's like, I don't know, man. And Brent's like, are you an idiot? Let's go. And I guess like Todd's dad had to talk him in or something. He's like, let's go, man. So, of course,
when you get this comfort, when you get to do what you do, sometimes it almost doesn't matter on what level it is. If you love playing and he's playing covers and gets to go home and sleep in his own bed at night, for some people, it really touring can be tough. Touring can be taxing on people. I can get how somebody might not be jumping at the opportunity to be on tour for 8 months of the year or something if it doesn't suit their personality. But for me, I'll take 8 to 11 months of touring.
Don't tell your family that. It's true though. The comfort zone thing is real. It's like, even like we mentioned before, like when we had to fly out to our first show after this massive hiatus, being home, who knows how long it's going to be at this point.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird, man. It's going to be such a change. The first couple of days are going to be like really weird because it's just not used to getting on a plane and going sleeping in a bus and stuff. It's going to be weird, right?
It's gonna be real strange. I'm, you know what though, it'll be exciting. I always say like the start of a tour is the most exciting when you start playing shows again after you've been off for a bit. It always feels fresh. It always sounds the best. Your ears are fresh and rested, and you just start and you have all this energy. You're not beat up by the road yet. You're still rejuvenated. I always love the start of touring. It's definitely there's gonna be some nerves and stuff that hasn't really shown in a while, just getting back into the comfort of playing. But I think it's in this weird way, it's going to be, the excitement of nerves is actually kind of what drives you sometimes. You like that feeling of being nervous because it hits you somewhere. So, I think it'll probably end up being even more exciting. It'll be terrifying, and terrifying things are exciting.
It's for me, it's like as soon as the plane lands and I go to like the baggage claim, and you're probably landing at the same time.
And your baggage is actually there.
Am I? What's funny is who in our group gets screwed the most with I've never had a problem with my bags.
And it's been me recently. I've had a lot of luggage misplacements. Germany for like 4 days. I had no luggage in Germany, and I was like really worried I was never going to see it again. I'm like, oh man, didn't Dean lose his luggage for like a week or a whole tour, and he went and bought a bunch of clothes and stuff, and then gave them the receipt or something? You just send the receipts in. They send you cash for it. It's great because I had to buy like a battery for my phone so I could charge my phone, and I had to buy all this stuff. And you just send in the receipts, and they just cut you a check.
It's tough because we travel so much. Like if you fly in to start a tour and your bag doesn't arrive, well, oops, because we leave.
Well, I've learned now that I travel always with a full change of clothes in my backpack now, because it's funny as I'll walk around and somebody will see me, I'll be wearing a shirt that says Austin, Texas. And somebody will be like, oh, hey, you're from Austin. I'll be like, no, but they lost my luggage there once and I had to buy a shirt at a gas station.
That's right.
Oh, you're from Ohio. No, but they lost my luggage there once and I had to buy a shirt at a gas station.
Yeah. Dude, I love your Los Angeles airport employee shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
No, that's because I got so mad.
Yeah.
I
give me the shirt off your back.
Yeah. There's always people always tend to be unlucky with certain things. Remember we played
Joe, it's food.
Joe is food, 100%. Like we all have these superpowers, right?
Right.
Like Joe's superpower is it gets to the point where it's just funny every time. He gets so worked up because it's
almost like your expectation. Your superpower is based on your expectation. And Joe is like a foodie. He loves food. He wants food to be good. He puts a lot of thought into what he orders for dinner every night. And I'm like, well, spaghetti with meat sauce.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, I want the balsamic chicken with lemon drizzle on. He's very particular. Yeah, and then something. And every time it'll be like, they forgot my lemon drizzle.
Yeah.
Or something,
every
right?
time.
There's something missing every time.
And he gets angry, and I'm just laughing. Yeah, you ordered spaghetti with the meatball, and I've ordered ditto. What did you order, Tyler? I don't know. Someone else put.
What did the guy above me order? Because I wrote ditto.
Whoever. Well, yeah. What did our tour manager order? I just ordered the same. That looks good. Yeah. So, but everyone's got their super. What's Dean's superpower? I don't know.
What is Dean's superpower?
We all have superpower. Mine's technology, right? Mine is totally technology. It's like just stuff will not work.
Yeah, you always be like, this doesn't work. No, it's not working. hitting buttons real hard, which is probably the reason why things don't work.
That's right. I spaz out. Doesn't work. But then you come along, you're like,
here, try this.
Works fine. Works fine.
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
It's me.
Tender
It's
touches,
me.
man. Tender touches.
Tender touches. Well,
I'm
I was
acid
even before
man,
we got
right?
out here.
I'm acid man. Even right now, I can feel the acid coming out of my palms of my hands. Like
you have acid sweat. We always talk about like if we were super villains, like you would be able to break into vaults and stuff.
Yeah, I could break through the safe. How long is that going to take, man? Hey, it's like 30 inches thick. 10 seconds.
Give me a couple minutes. Yeah, because if we sound check, if you play acoustic guitar at sound check, guitar tech's like, oh, I have to change the strings before the show, 100%. Because they'll be
I see him grab, like when he takes my guitar from me right away, it's like he wipes it down. He tries to like salvage it. It's like he tries to beat the acid sweat before it gets too deep in the strings.
Yeah.
So he's spraying it and wiping it down as quick as he can.
Yeah. There's not much that can corrode right through steel. But
now you know, folks. Beware. Beware.
We were talking about Audioslave. I remember when we did that show where we opened for them, quote unquote. Remember?
Right,
it was it was in Dallas.
Yep.
It was at this old place. It was an old theater or something.
Kind of dome. They called it something, the Agrodome or something dome.
Normadome?
I don't know. Some kind of dome. But this,
dome.
This was a highlight night, by the way, because a lot of cool things happened.
Yeah. But we played. There was the arena thing, the dome.
Yep.
And Audioslave was playing, and then we were playing the bar,
the attached bar.
The attached bar. So when people left, when they were over, we actually played after Audioslave. So Audioslave opened for us,
and people had to walk through the bar to leave. So it was like
forced to listen. To us.
The 12 seconds it took to walk through, we had to get their attention. Bring them in.
So we're like, hey, you, where are you going?
But that was cool because so Audioslave sound checked during the day, and I went into there and sat in one of the seats in the dome. And when they came out and sound checked, and they started kicking people out of the dome, and so I slouched into my chair, and Tom Morello put a ghetto blaster on top of his amp and started playing like something from a cassette tape or something. This was 2002. This was like on early days.
Yep.
And he started playing something, and then they were jamming it. And I was just like slouched down there, like, please don't see me. Please don't see me. And, man, I'm telling you, I watched them do a 30-minute sound check, just like the only man in the room. And they were just like working on tunes. If I would have actually had the sense, I think probably had some Nokia phone that probably couldn't actually record video back then. But
you could play Centipede.
Yeah, that's right. It was cool. I still think about that and think, man, I was a fly on the wall in an Audioslave jam for real. Like that happened to me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that was a decent gig. Like back then, yeah, we were just pretty much doing whatever we could. We were
and it packed. I mean, we played to a packed house. In fact, that's when Dimebag and Vinny came out to the show.
Yep.
And bought us Blacktooth grins.
That's right. That's the first time I ever knew what one tasted like.
Oh, we drank a lot of Blacktooth grins back in the heyday of me and my buddies. We would always watch the Pantera home videos and be drinking Blacktooth grins.
What is a Blacktooth grin? It's a Coke,
like a Crown and a splash of Coke.
Yeah, it's just Crown and Coke.
Yeah, that's a shot, right? So
it's pretty.
But that's pretty cool to have the legendary Dime and Vinny buy us Blacktooth grins. It was like we did the encore, and we were sort of out there waiting, and their buddy came back and said, "Hey, Vinny and Dime enjoyed the show, and they wanted to buy you these Blacktooths."
That's right.
I thought that was. That. I mean, it's a highlight night right there. Pretty cool.
That's the cool stuff that, like, when you first get touring, you like just being able on some of these festivals or stuff, like these bands you grew up listening to. Pantera, and then you're in Dallas and they just stop on by, buy us drinks. That's just like, yeah. Oh
yeah, man. I was pretty much texting everybody of mine from my Nokia flip phone that night.
Was it a flip?
I don't know.
I can't remember what it was called. It was like a 2100 or something like that. Amber screen.
I remember. Yeah, those things were garbage. But you could literally throw them at the wall and then pick them up and call and apologize.
Mine was 5G. So much it cost.
So advanced.
No. But we were.
How much your bills were?
Yeah, Jesus. Back then, yeah, because living in Canada, they didn't have any international plans. So anytime you called your girlfriend back in Vancouver, which was 11 times a day, what are you doing? I miss you. And you're looking at fuck $800. You get a bill. I got a bill for $3,000 one month. I flipped my lid. I was like, what? Because they didn't have any
loophole. As a Canadian band, we found the loophole is you got an American phone plan, and you could add Canada's as a state, the whole country of Canada. Right. You could add as a state for $10, and then it was like unlimited. And I'm like, I can't believe this. It's like $100 for as much talking as I want. Loophole, Canada, just a no.
It was Jay Sikowski hooked me up with a phone years ago, and it was from Connecticut. So people always like, why do you have a Connecticut phone number? I'm like, I don't know. It's from 2005 when I got this.
I think I did mine in Connecticut too, actually. And they're like, and I'm like, do I have to have a Connecticut area code? And they're like, no, pick anything you want. I'm like, all right, New York City. Give me a New York area code. So they gave me New York City.
Now, because your phone number is 212-555.
No, it's the 917 area code.
Oh, that's right. 212 is a landline.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Come on, man. We edit that out later.
Yeah. We mentioned Highwaymen. I never that's kind of like outlaw country, right? I mean, that's
outlaw country.
Those four dudes, full on outlaw.
What I felt like outlaw defines outlaw country music was that every song was like a warning. And that's what, to me, outlaw country music it was. It was like, mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. You know, everything's like a warning. It's like, you got to know that outlaw country, it's beware. That's what the songs are about. Beware.
We listened to, he's outlaw country, is Hank 3.
Oh yeah, Hank 3 is outlaw country.
But he had that song, Pop Country Really Sucks.
That's right. Here's for the Dick and Dixie.
Yeah. And this CUNT back in country.
That's right.
Because he talked about like how, he talked about how they like disrespected his father or something. And you don't have him in the Hall of Fame, but you got a guy dressed like him greeting people in the lobby or something.
Right. They didn't want to admit him in, but they got a statue or something like that out the front door.
Something like that, yeah.
The Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah. Our guest today is a country singer, and I guess it's an outlaw kind of.
I listened to his whole record. I think that's outlaw country. There's a lot of warnings. There's all warnings in there.
And this is Johnny Cash, where he just like, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. You're like, oh my God.
That's outlaw country.
I mean,
there's no denying it. Yeah. There's no denying that's outlaw country.
It's so good. Yeah, so this is our first country guest. But outlaw country for me when I was growing up was Kenny Rogers and Anne Murray. That's what my parents listened to.
The genres now are so, I don't know, like there's such blurred lines in country music now. I don't know where country and rock sometimes, where the line is. It's because a lot of his stuff sounds country, but it almost sounds rock too, like to me. It's almost like what's funny is actually Sturgill Simpson is up for a rock Grammy. I mean, Sturgill Simpson to me is like outlaw country. He's kind of what I believe is like the old school, like the stuff my dad listened to. And it's weird. It's like because I feel like country and rock are like they're almost like intersecting right now, and it's Sturgill Simpson's actually up for a rock Grammy.
I wonder if he's like. I wonder if he was confused by that, or if he's like, "Hey, man, take where I can get it." I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Get him on here, and we'll find out. But
let's find out.
Not today. We got a different guy. What do you want to bring our guest on?
We should bring him on.
Our guest today is a country music singer signed to Better Noise Music, and his latest album, Who I Am, debuted August 7th, 2020 with the hit Outlaws and Outsiders featuring Ivan Moody, Travis Tritt, and Mick Mars, and also his new single, Blame It on the Double, featuring me. Please welcome Cory Marks.
Woo! Yeah.
What's up, everyone?
What's up?
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Tyler, for having me, man. I appreciate it. Good to be here.
Oh, it's nice to have you.
Yeah.
Checking in from North Bay, Ontario.
It's great. Yeah, tuning in from North Bay, Ontario. Yeah.
North Bay, man. So we were talking off before this. We were talking about how we've been there before. We're trying to figure out where we played, but it's a little bit of a jaunt. How's the weather?
You know what? It's not that bad. It's pretty mild right now, considering the winters we have here. Usually getting the below 20, below 30, and right now it's just kind of low cloud, muggy, not really cold, not really nice. It's just blah. More like a Monday.
You a Toronto Maple Leafs fan?
Absolutely. Big win last night.
Hockey started last night, and they won their opener.
Yes, sir.
They won their season opener. I was figuring you must have been a Leafs fan. Obviously, we're not Leafs. We're Canuck fans, so we can't really be a big dub too. So yeah, they did. They did right. against this highly expected Oiler team that just keeps on being
the Oilers.
I'm excited for Wendell Clark this year.
What is he returning?
He's coming back.
Who was the guy that Don Cherry loved? His favorite of all
Doug
time.
Gilmore? He loved Doug Gilmore?
Dougie Gilmore, yeah.
Oh,
Dougie Gilmore. He loves Dougie. Yeah. Good Canadian kid. Dougie Gilmore, yeah.
Quite honestly, how good would it be to watch like in golf they have like the champions, right? It's all the old guys that can't compete with the young guys anymore. So it would maybe be more entertaining to watch like a bunch of old ex-NHLers play in like some semi-legit league, and you could watch like the old goons going at it and stuff. It'd probably be really entertaining hockey.
Watch them beat the piss out of each other.
Yeah, and they would.
Because I mentioned this to Jamie McLennan, who we had on here before. I mentioned that at one point because I was watching this thing they have for basketball. They have like a 3-on-3 half-court basketball. Have you seen this? And it's like a champions thing where they have all the
remember you talking about
players. That. So I hit up Noodles. I'm like, dude, you guys should do like get some old hockey players and play like shorter periods or something. And you could, or maybe half ice or something. And I think he said that it was something that was they were already in the works, or they were talking about it or something. If not, I think the three of us should just start it.
Start a league, semi-pro.
Start
our own team. Can you play? Did you play ever or what?
Basketball or hockey?
No, hockey.
Yeah, I played hockey. Yeah, I was on skates from the age of 3 and got up to major, junior, and got some offers for college as well too. So
you really can play. So you could play legit hockey. We played beer league hockey. Ty and I, we went and bought hockey gear.
That's where we all end up anyway. So
that's right. Yeah. Even those ex-NHLers, they end up in.
That's where I'm at now. Beer leaguer for life.
That's good though. So what about what got you into the music? You got a family that plays, or?
Yeah, my dad was actually in a band with his brother when he was younger, and country western band. My uncle Wolf Milestone was his name, and he still plays, man. But my dad got me in the drums. So I played drums when I was younger. Of course, being from Canada, he grew up listening to Rush and Deep Purple and Grand Funk Railroad and Neil Peart. Begin with. So, I was drum. That's all I wanted to do was drum. And I didn't pick up a guitar until, I was 18, probably 17, 18. So outside of high school and just kind of closet drummer, I guess, and one thing led to another. But I did grow up in a very musical family. I grew up with acoustic guitars and fiddles and all that stuff at birthdays and Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. So I was blessed to be, surrounded by that growing up.
Big country, like who would be, because me and Dave were talking before about super groups, and it led us to like the Highwaymen. Yeah, we were talking about like Hank 3 and Hank Williams, and like so you talked about like Rush and stuff like that, but what about like any outlaw country, any stuff that was like a lot of that stuff?
Oh yeah, my favorite of all time, my favorite singer songwriter is Merle Haggard.
Yeah, nice.
I got to meet Merle. Actually played Memorial Gardens, a rink I played hockey in growing up, right in my hometown. And it was actually the first tour bus I was ever on. It was Merle Haggard's Super Chief. I got to hang with him, and I was pretty much in tears when I got back to my parents' place because I had the signed picture, his guitar picks, and I got to hang with him. I got a few Merle tattoos as well too. So he's definitely my favorite. And my dad loved Waylon Jennings, of course, and then going back to Buck Owens and those old, going even further back to Jimmy Rogers, where country music all started. I still love that stuff and listen to it every now and then.
I love that. For me, listening to your new record, it doesn't even sound straight up country to me. Like it's crossing genres all over the place. And for me, it hit a few. There's a few notes of Pride and Glory. I don't know if you're a Zakk Wylde fan, but I'm a huge Zakk Wylde fan, and I could hear some Pride and Glory ish kind of licks and sounds and wails and it's got some of that heavy guitars in there too. It's not your classic old school country. Definitely there's some rock elements and even at times some metal. Heavy metal elements. Yeah.
I grew up on growing up on being a drummer again, like Rush and Deep Purple and Grand Funk and all that. That was like when I first started, from 10 to about 15. By 14, I was into like Dream Theater and then going to the Gigant tours and then doing, watching guys like, Lamb of God and Arch Enemy. So I got into that style. And then, of course, Pantera is definitely, I noticed that looks like a Dean behind you there, little dime bag, so watch it go. So I like, it's crazy. I know a lot of, when I first start talking about where my influences come from, it's, my mom's side, like French, Italian, and American too. And so it's fiddles and acoustic guitars. And like I said, then I started drumming and then Rush and those bands led to the heavier stuff. And now here I am singing, now I'm a singer. So it's kind of funny how it all just spun around.
Yeah, I like the amalgamation of that. That's what makes it so awesome. And that's kind of how it has to progress, right? Like you can't do, like you said, if you did like a Merle Haggard, it wouldn't really be, contemporary in that sense. You kind of have to progress. But I'm curious if that is something that you like. I'm curious how you met Kevin Churko, because he's obviously that's his thing, right? Like he's so good at that. How'd that turn out?
Well, and he's a big Merle fan too, and so it's kind of we're both drummers, first of all. So the funny story about that is it's kind of a long story, but so when I first started writing in Nashville, one of my favorite records in high school or out of high school was Black Rain, and by Ozzy Osbourne, and I forget which time it was, but my dad would drive me to Toronto just because the flights were cheaper instead of going from North Bay, Toronto, Nashville. Right, it's just one stop. So my dad would drive me to Toronto, and we were listening to this album. We must have listened to it 2 times on the way there, 3 times maybe. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, it would sound so awesome if there's a country song or artist that could make country music, but with this kind of production, right? A little more on the heavier side. And, my dad's, he's the producer is actually from Saskatchewan. He's Canadian, and looked him up and all that stuff. But I was just getting in the game, so I didn't know much about producers or who the key songwriters were or anything. And I'm not sure if it was that trip or the very next trip. My manager, Louis, was like, "Hey, I want to show you something. Believe it or not, I grew up with this guy." And anyways, he starts showing me Kevin Churko, and I'm like, my dad was just talking about him, and I love Black Rain and all that stuff. He says, "One day you're going to work with him." I said, "Well, do you know him?" He goes, "Actually, I grew up with him. He's a childhood friend." I'm like, "Okay." And sure enough, I don't think it was more than a month after that, out of nowhere, Kevin called Louis and was like, "How you doing? Shooting the shit, whatever." And he said, "Listen, for a couple Aussie records, I'm all demoned out. Is there any any country acts in Canada you think, I'd want to work with?" And it's kind of not doing what everyone else is doing. And Louis, sure enough, said, "You know what, I'm just the guy." Long story short, he ended up flying out to one of my gigs where I was opening for Toby Keith. And he came and saw my show. And that was it, man. I gave him a shot of Jack Daniels. We toasted and down the hat, watch it go, and
that's how deals are made in the music biz.
Yeah. Fuck paper.
Did he have a huge beard? Did he have the beard when you met him?
Yeah, he's had that beard from what at least I think probably the last 15, 20 years. I think
I remember Kevin before he had the beard.
Yeah. I saw. There's pictures of him in the studio. Yeah, it's just got a little kind of like this going on, not much, and then it's just this big. He's a Viking now.
Did he win a Juno for that Aussie record or something?
I think he won a Juno. Yeah, I think he's either won a couple or at least nominated, and I know he was nominated for a Grammy with Disturbed.
So yeah, he's great, man. He's a great guy. And he's got his whole new studio. So were you in the new studio or the...
I was actually in both of them. So Blame It on the Double and Outlaws and Outsiders were both written and recorded in the first studio. It's kind of by the airport, I remember. And then now the new Hideout, we did the rest of the album there.
The old one is it's right next to that Italian restaurant.
Yeah,
did you guys go eat in that restaurant?
100%. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
all the old, all the classics, like Sinatra and Elvis and all those old boys would go eat there and stuff. So it's pretty, it's pretty cool to almost go back in time and sit in those same booths as those,
History is important, man. I do the same thing. We played Madison Square Garden, and I mean, to this day, it's like I have the set list. It's like one of the few set. But I remember just like putting my ear to the concrete walls, and I'm thinking, man, there's a little bit of Led Zeppelin reverberating in here. There's a little bit of everybody. I mean, everybody's been in. I love that. I love the history. When you get to play in rooms, we played at what was that surf one where La Bamba and the Big Bopper and their last show before they got in the plane and the plane crashed. We played venue. I'm like, man, it's crazy. I remember being a kid and watching the La Bamba movie.
They had a big
plane
thing out there.
Yeah,
and
I think they had a big
Waylon was supposed to be in that plane too, but he let the Big Bopper go because he wasn't feeling good.
He gave up his seat. That's right.
Wild.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about this whole COVID is that there's so much nostalgia starts coming out of us. You're just like, man, I remember that time we played Wembley. Like, so have you done a lot of touring? Obviously not now, but like before it all kind of got shut down. What was what were your touring look like?
My touring was consisted more of fairs and festivals and the odd probably one or two cross Canada tours. With either American acts like Brantley Gilbert or Toby Keith, or some of the bigger country acts here in Canada like Aaron Pritchett and Brett Kissel, and the latest one was Gord Bamford. So I've done one myself too a few years ago, but just at small clubs and stuff. But I've crossed Canada now 7 or 8 times. Played a few venues in the States, but things were kind of just getting going for me when this all hit. So now I'm back in the hangar, just waiting to fly.
Right. Yeah, we're all biding our time now.
Mm-hmm.
Biding our time.
That's it.
I'm sure we could play some shows together. I think that would work well.
I think it'd be great. Yeah, especially now more than ever.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beauties now, is that, especially with for us with rock music, is it feels like the lines are really blurred, and that everything's kind of intersecting with each other. And I almost feel like bands don't want to come and listen to 3 bands that sound the same. They almost want to come out and hear 3 different subgenres. I feel like it's more exciting to be able to go and see bands and be like, oh, that was cool. And then something else starts and it sounds totally different.
Well, it's like, when you go to a concert I'm sure we've all been there where it's like, you either get a ticket or you're at some place and you find out this band's playing, right? And you don't know who they are, right? And you just show up and you're like, holy shit, these guys are great. And these are just the openers. And then the headliner goes on or something. You're like, fuck, these guys are awesome, right? It's just, I find it's probably a good way to, kind of find different music. And for us, make different fans, if we kind of do something more on a rock country line, which would be a little bit different for you guys, I would think, but we could still definitely make it work. I think,
That's how you bring other fans in, right? Edge fans, the fans that are, maybe country fans that come to see a country show and see some rock bands at the same time. And they're like, hey, you know what? This ain't half bad.
This is pretty good.
As a Van Halen used to, they used to always have an opener. I heard that they'd pick on purpose that was terrible, so it would make them sound better.
Yeah,
we're the opposite. We always pick bands that are too good, and then we're like, man. And then we go on. We're like, I don't know how are we gonna follow that.
Yeah, we better step up our game.
Yeah, because it always end up picking bands that are just like, after a while, we're like, we end up opening for them somewhere. I mean, it's like we'll go overseas. We've opened for bands that have opened for us. We're like, man, this band's blown up because I don't know. Maybe Dave, we just have such great taste.
Well, I think it's it's true, but for us, we've always approached tours that when it's our tour, you want them to have the fans to have a good show, enjoyable show. I don't want them to have to suffer through 30 minutes of trash. I want the bands to be good. And also I like to watch the music before a show. So if we got good bands touring with us, that I can go and watch and get jazzed up for the show, then that's a plus.
I mean, the only way you want like a bit of a shittier opening is if you're getting a percentage of the beer, the beer and liquor sales. Because if the shitty, right,
probably
drink more, right?
Yeah,
got to pay the gas somehow.
Our fans have always been great. I don't think we really had any bands that we've gone out with. Our fans are like, they suck or booed them or anything. Our fans have been so open. I don't know. That's maybe just a theory thing. Our fans have always been welcoming. So because we've had bands on.
Fans. You hear that, theory fans? Right. We talk nice of you guys. We talk real nice of you guys.
They're good guys.
Yes. We're hoping they're all still there when we tour again.
Well, I always notice like theory fans that come and see us play. They always become fans of the opening bands, and it's like they start following them all on social media and stuff. And I think that's cool. That's what I want to have happen.
Yeah.
And I love the features. I love seeing people featuring other artists and stuff. I talk to Tyler about this all the time. I think it's like, it almost like gives artists credibility in a way. I feel like you see it so much in hip hop, and I feel like the genre thrives because of it, right? You have all these people just like, hey, be in my video. Hey, be in my song. And of course, people that are fans are like, well, I must be a fan of him too. If he's good enough for him, he's good enough for me. And like, I feel like rock in this weird way was always, butted heads a little bit with that. So it's cool to see. I like to see that, go away from that.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of I mean, I'm doing it. I've been doing it. My first single, Outlaw, is having, Travis Tritt and Mick Mars and Ivan. That's the first time Mick Mars has ever been on a country song. So that's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
But then, of course, Blame It on the Double featuring Tyler and Jason Hook as well, and just to add that definite rock edge to things. I think it's really cool, but you can even go as far as like someone like Post Malone and Ozzy Osbourne,
exactly.
And I actually, I love the song. I think it's great. And it's cool.
I actually really like Post Malone. I keep seeing footage of him like covering Alice in Chains or Nirvana, stuff that I grew up listening to. And I'm like, man, this guy's just like me. He probably listens to the same stuff as me. He's always playing and thrashing around. He looks like the kind of guy I could hang out with.
Yeah, he likes to have a good time and play some tunes,
Yeah, sounds like a good time.
He definitely would be right up your alley, Dave. You guys would be probably smoking weed.
Probably.
Gotta
start somewhere.
Late on the bus call.
So you're doing any like live streams, any of that? Because like for us, it's like impossible. Being in a band. Yeah, like it's kind of just me. It's just like, Tyler, do you want to? Because it's like we had this other opportunity recently that we got approached to do, and I immediately was like, I don't know how's the band going to do it. We're all in different. One guy's up in Canada, the rest of us are in the States. And it was kind of like Dave was like, well, Tyler, you would just do it. And
I sent an email. I'm like, well, we in brackets you will record the song, and then we in brackets you can mix it. And
yeah, exactly. So I don't know, like if you've been doing anything, because being an artist, you have the opportunity to be like, hey, I can just do an acoustic live stream thing for some fans. Boom.
Yeah, I've been like in 2020, I did, every Wednesday on Instagram, every Friday on Facebook for, I don't know,
Oh,
8 or 9 months once we hopped off the tour. So like I probably did, I'd say between some of the Instagram lives I did with other people and just my own, I probably did, I'd say upwards of 100 and maybe 100, 150 performances just streaming from my little studio at home. Not the
You're still
same.
putting in the
That's
work.
great.
You're still putting in the work.
Well, I had to find a way to keep the ball rolling, and I really do miss playing, right? So it's just it's not the same, but it was still an audience, right? So
it's kind of where this was born for Tyler and I, just to be able to talk music and talk to people, just because I feel like you're chained to your home and you're like, I got to get out there and connect. I need to connect to some people and just find out what's going on in the world. Well, I got to find out what's going on in fucking North Bay.
Well,
what's the weather like? How's the moose?
Yeah, there's not really much going on. Well, especially with COVID, it's pretty quiet, man. There's nothing really going on. I mean, we can't even go out and, you can't even be out on the skating rinks anymore for the next month. Can't do any skiing or anything like that. Quebec's got a curfew. Everyone's got to be in by 8 o'clock or something like that. So it's just kind of messed up. I was in the meantime. Yeah, we're in complete lockdown. Yeah. And in the meantime, I've been getting my pilot license. So I'm right there at the end. And then my school shut down until February 11th. And I'm right at the flight test now. So I've been trying to train for this for the last 10 years. You just kind of go and come back, get caught up. But COVID's giving me the time to do that. But now with these lockdowns, it's shutting down the schools, right? And
okay, tell us about that. Because I did read something about you at one point wanted to be like a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
So if you're doing your testing, is it
like
a Cessna style? Like what are you going for?
I think you froze there for a bit, Tyler. So I only got a little bit of the question.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying. So you going for your pilot license? Is it Cessna?
Yeah. Well,
what do you go for first?
Yeah, Cessna first. Like I could fly a 152 and a 172. I've been training. My friend has my old chief flight instructor has a Yak 52, so it's a Russian plane, but it's fully aerobatic up to 7 Gs, positive Gs, and I think 5 negative. So it's fully aerobatic and do all that crazy shit. That's my dream. Yeah, it's well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. So your Russian planes. So once they graduate from the Yak 52, that's actually what they go on to fly as a MiG-29 or any other MiGs they have over there. So yeah, when I was younger, when I was playing hockey, I had my first year junior. I had an opportunity to get a full ride offer. I didn't get the actual offer in hand, but they wanted to take me for a tour, and that was kind of the idea of Ohio State University, to play Division I hockey there. And just out of high school, I just didn't want to go back to school. I was playing hockey because I didn't know what else to do. So then later on, when my junior career was ending, I was scouted by the Royal Military College of Canada. So I thought, well, I think this is it. I have to bite the bullet and go back to school, right? So I thought, why not go back to school, play good hockey, and in the summers I'd be training to become a fighter pilot was the dream. And but then I picked up a guitar, and once I started playing music, I thought, well, I'll just do it privately then. I started getting my private pilot license while I was playing hockey, and then my school actually shut down. So then I went back to playing hockey, and then I ended up signing with the Royal Military College. But yeah, my hopes now is I think it'd be just a cool way to get around from show to show, right? Kind of
fly to Toronto, and then
well, really, like anywhere at that point. Like my biggest goal is growing up in North Bay. We had the it's called the Heritage Festival, the Equisher, and with the Heritage Festival and Air Show. So there'd be the air show from whatever it was, 12 o'clock, noon till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But then from 6:30 till 11 at night, it was like a huge fucking stage and bands all night, right? Or there's 20,000 people, and it was, so my huge goal is eventually to bring that back and perhaps make it some sort of tour package, like, so there's an air show in the day and there's concerts at night, and you kind of do a bit of some sort of circuit,
Sounds awesome.
We'll see what happens.
You could be the next Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah.
Your own 747.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure about the whole 747 thing. I'd probably get. I would get something closer though, like a smaller Learjet, even. Or my biggest dream is to get like they call them warbirds, so it's any kind of ex-military jets or planes. And
man, I live in Chattanooga, and
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
There must be a military base right here or something, because there's so many choppers, and I saw like the biggest transport plane last night. I actually thought it was going to crash, because I'm like, is that thing even moving in the air? It's so big, flying so low, and I'm like, is it just coming down? I can't tell. And it was just circling, but it was the biggest beast. It probably had tanks in it. That's what I imagined.
Yeah. Mostly, it's probably either there's the C-17 Globemaster, but then what's even bigger than that's the C-5 Galaxy, and it's just a massive cargo plane the military uses.
It's pretty cool. I love it. Every now and again, I'll hear a bunch of choppers, and I'll look out, and there'll be 7 or 8 choppers all going like in tandems too.
Badass.
Sweet.
We played some military bases. We've been over Okinawa a couple times, and the last time we went, it was Air Force Medina Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fighter pilot dream right there.
Yeah,
that's that's where they train all the fighter pilots. So they have like a hotel, or I guess it's like whatever they would call it, where the people live.
Is that in California? Is that where that is?
That's in Japan.
No, that's in Japan.
Way off.
So that's close. And so we would be in our hotel or whatever it is, because it's all on a base. And then it'd just be so loud because all the jets would just be sitting there like ready to take off, but they would just take off like one after another nonstop.
Oh yeah.
And then,
I think they're on an aircraft carrier. They're practicing taking off and landing on the aircraft carrier.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But they had like stuff for us to do, right? So a tour manager would be like, hey, here's all the stuff you guys can do. They got a movie theater. They got a golf course. I'm like, golf course? So I went and played golf by myself and played with a couple other guys, I guess military guys on the base. But they had all the planes, whatever they would have been. I don't know, F-14s or something.
Well, what year was it?
This is a few years ago.
Yeah.
In Japan?
Japan.
And was it Japan?
Sure.
On an American military base, though.
Oh, okay. It's probably F-15s or something like that. The Eagles.
Yeah, and there was just like, and so you would tee off, and it was like the grass where you tee off, and then a fence, and then all of the planes, and they're all on, and it's just like, you can't even tee off. It's so loud.
It's just
loud,
just all
turning their engines on. I mean, they're like 100 feet, and it's just so I got the guys to take a photo of me teeing off with all these planes lined up.
Yeah, pretty
cool.
I would be probably just drinking beer and watching the planes, to be honest. Not much of a golfer myself, but I'd probably
see them come out.
The
it was so cool because they would take off and go almost straight up, and then just like turn around, go right over your heads, right over the hotel or something. It was really cool, and they'd just go one after another, 5 of them, boom, 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 boom.
They call that the unrestricted climb, where they just kind of hover there, and then they just pitch straight up and they're gone.
It's called the barf bag or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Chris from Brad from Three Doors has been on some. He's been on some legit planes where they try to make you throw up and stuff, and they give you pins. So they give you different G's. So if you hit like 5 G's, they give you a 5G pin, and I guess
nice.
He was somewhere, and someone was like, how'd you get like a 5G pin? And he was like, I just went up with the Air Force. They're like, oh, yeah, they can do whatever they want. They can pretty much kill you if they want.
Yeah.
Barrel roll, and you pass out. But I'm afraid to go up.
If you're not used to, I mean, that's just me, though. Like, if you guys ever get an offer to do it, do it, because it's pretty amazing. I actually went up with the Canadian Forces Snowbirds in 2017. I've been a huge fan of them since I was a kid. That's what I wanted to do originally. And man, it's just the coolest thing. I mean, I'm a big aviation guy. So for someone who doesn't like roller coasters or heights, it might be a little different for you, but it's still really
cool.
Dean,
our bass player. We'll get Dean, our bass player, to do it. He's the
Dean
roller coaster guy.
Deaner will do it. He'll throw up, but he'll be like, it was great.
Now, Dean can handle any ride. He won't puke on the ride, but give him some LA smog and watch out.
That's right. That's a good inside joke. Yeah. He can handle anything, but he cannot stand LA smog. He will
can't party in LA.
So true. That's a good story. I have to tell that one.
That's funny.
At another time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, thanks for coming on the podcast. Like, we definitely will hang at some point. I'm excited for the song, but I'm excited to get back on the road. Maybe we can do a festival or we can do some shows.
I'd love to, man.
Meet one day.
Yeah, I'd love to. If you're down, we can get some writing in too. If you're game for that.
Yeah,
write some tunes.
Let's do it, man. 100%.
Well, rock it, man. I appreciate you guys having me, and again, it's glad to have you on the single, man. You sound great. It's cool. I love the pre-chorus. Just that, yeah. I love it. It's good. It's cool. It's just sad.
I told Jerko, I'm like, I threw a little Tyler, on there.
Fucking right, man, dude.
So I was like, I like it.
That was I like it. Kind of. It's awesome, man. I love it. I must have just listened to that chorus over and over and over again. And Jason's solo is great too. So
it is good. Yeah, I love it. He's good. Sweet, man. Well, you take care. Stay safe.
You too, guys.
We'll talk soon, man.
Thanks, bet,
Cory.
Boys. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Stay safe and keep in touch. Cheers, boys.
Will do. Peace.
See ya.
Cool. Sweet.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I really actually enjoy talking about the planes, mostly because I think I'm just more terrified of it. The idea of getting in a fighter pilot, like getting in a plane like that, I don't think I'd do well.
Well, Darren, when the guy works at our label, he's been up a couple times. I don't know how, but he's over in he's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
For some reason, he's somehow finagled to go up with some fighter pilots multiple times. And I'm like, so how was that? He's like, oh, they make you throw up. I'm like, really? He's like, oh yeah, they do it on purpose. I'm like, did you throw up? He's like, yep, both times. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't.
Why is that fun?
I don't know. Why are you eating?
I guess if
what are you throwing up? Burger, hot dog.
I was pretty wasted before I got in the. Like, is it not bad for a fighter jet to have a bunch of puke inside the cockpit? I feel like it's like there's controls and shit, but it's like, hey,
just start sparking and like, we're screw. Oh, what happened? Well, I got some puke in the control.
I thought it was going to be chunky. It was pure liquid.
Yeah, they don't know what you have or haven't eaten. Yeah, I guess they give you a bag, right? But still, like, it could be. I don't know. Yeah, I am scared to death because I'm like a claustrophobic weird person. So like I would feel like they would put you in like so you can't even move, and they're like, and then you have no control. Like I've done the NASCAR thing, but you're driving the car, so they strap you. You have to climb in the car, and they strap you in. They tie your head, so your head can't even move. You can't even look, and it's crazy. And you're stuck. If there's a fire, like you can't even get out. Like,
and that's how I know, like, I couldn't be an astronaut. Because I
can't take your helmet off.
I wouldn't be able to get into that small little thing to get shot into space. I mean, I could pass all the other tests, no problem, but I just can't fit.
Yeah,
but that's how I know I could be an astronaut.
Well, they just put you on a gravitron, right?
Yeah,
we all could do that.
That's easy.
I get past all the other tests. Yeah. The physical tests are like, Dave, you failed. What part? The acid sweat. You melted right through the suit.
Report to test room 2B, and it was on second floor, and you took a break on the stairwell. Yeah, you failed.
Yeah. The cameras picked you up, smoking weed, and then you couldn't make it up 2 flights of stairs, so you failed.
Yeah.
I can do this. Do you really want to do this? No. Yeah, you could be an astronaut. Yeah, for sure.
If not for my claustrophobia. Otherwise, yeah.
It's interesting as those astronauts tend to be a little bit older. It's like they take people like aren't in peak physical condition. They're more probably educated. They're more stronger when it comes to like, what are you gonna do if like your suit gets a leak? Well, I won't panic because I've been training for 25 years.
Well, I won't panic because I'm older and not as peak physical shape.
Yeah, I won't panic because I'm just like, here it is. Here we go.
I'm ready for it. Oh, astronauts.
Yeah. Space? No way. Yeah, I would full on. Well, it's like scuba diving. I really wanted to get into scuba diving. I went and took the test, passed the test, and then, well, the written test. You'd have to take a written test. And then there's a scuba shop literally at the top of my street. So I just walked in there. I'm like, yeah, how do I take the training tests? He's like, oh, we do, just do it at my house. I have a pool. Oh, and it's like, yeah, we just do scuba diving in a swimming pool in someone's backyard. And I'm like, oh, well, I have this problem with my ear. I can't seem to equalize. He's like, oh, yeah, if you can't equalize, you can't scuba dive. I'm like, oh. Yeah. So like
scuba, Ruben.
Scuba, Ruben. Yeah, Ruben. So good. He's banging his wife. That long game Polly?
Long game Polly, yeah. Full flippers. Yeah.
But I love to scuba, but the same thing. I'd feel like I'd get like 50 feet down and then be like full panic mode or something. And you're like, well, you can't just swim to the top. You have to go up real slow or you get the bends. So I'd be like, yeah.
Not into it.
I'm just a spaz, unfortunately.
Yeah. Forget it. I just have to stick to music. Stick to music,
I guess. A good combo with our guest today, Cory Marks.
Well, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, that's it, Dave. This is it. So, as usual, another successful podcast, semi-successful. We didn't say anything stupid this time.
Well, we have to listen back and edit it out, probably.
That's right.
If we did.
Technology, maybe. So, go subscribe. Go make sure you go to our website, bandmeetingpodcast.com.
It's important that you like us, because we're George Costanza, and we must have everyone like us. So like us.
And other than that, we'll see you next time.
We're gonna set the internet on fire. We've killed the queen and